All right. Well, hey, Coaches Up for Change. It's Dee Corchin, and I am happy to be with you. We're back to virtual after this incredible weekend at convention. It's July 25th. So we're coming together tonight to debrief from convention, but also to talk about what do you do with this? Because I think Deborah just said, like, it was a lot. So how do you know where to go? Because otherwise we can be like a spinning top, right? And not really know what to do with it all. I had asked the other day in the group, but maybe you answered it there, but maybe I'll answer it now. What is one word? Let's pop it in the chat that just kind of describes maybe even how you feel today. It might be different than how you felt yesterday. So let's take a look at some of these emotions that we're feeling. So energized, pumped, motivated. What else? Awakened, gratitude, renewed, confident, reawakened, ready, refreshed, inspired, good, excited, rejuvenated, excited. Yeah. You know, you guys know this, most of you know this, and keep them coming and they always blow it up. I've been coaching for 11 years. And I think the best advice given to me was to attend every event that I qualify for. And over the years, and sometimes some years, there's a lot of events, et cetera, at my level. But what I realized is that we need that shot of energy. You know, we need that shot of energy. We need a reminder of the vision, of the mission, really what we are a part of. And most often we hear it with different ears. You know, like I could have easily made an excuse and said, well, I've been to 11 conventions. What else is there? But there's always something, because if I don't hear it from me, I hear it for how I could lead better or how I could help and lead leaders to lead better. So, so it's always really good. So we're going to do a couple of different things tonight, but I wanted some specific individuals to share because they're coming to the business from different places. And actually some had a few challenges and hoops they had to jump through in order to be there. So the first one I want to share is Stephanie Sweetie. So Stephanie's been coaching a little over a year. She did not attend in 2021. So this was her first time attending. She is a regional director, so she's done a great job building her business. But Stephanie, why don't you share really what this event meant to you, maybe what specifically you got out of it, and what you're going to put into action, and maybe what you would say to somebody watching this for the first time that hasn't been or chose not to go.
Yeah, I thank you for letting me share. As a first time convention attendee, a major shift really truly happened with me and has occurred in my mindset. And I've learned some skills that I want to put into action. And it mostly has to do with being bold. And so I looked up the definition of bold, and that is the willingness to get things done despite the obstacles, and doing it with consistency and courage. And I know we hear over and over again that obstacles is the way. And I know that that is something that shifted with me, is being bold and sharing my story of how coaching has changed my life. I was really bold before of how this our health program has changed my life, not only physically and emotionally, and so much more of how I show up in life, but so has coaching. And I have not been bold in sharing that before. And I know that that is something that has shifted since I've been to convention. I've been wanting to share that. And one of the quotes that kind of stood out with me during convention was, "Success cannot be owned, but it can be rented, and rent is due every day." And that rent is due in the form of sacrifices or discipline, that self-development, attending conventions, work, that work and that pushing through challenges. I know that I myself am a confession of a recovering multitasker, which I know there's no such thing as a multitasker. So I'm recognizing that and getting more organized with my business. One thing that I really want to put into action this week and be consistent of this week is really starting my vision board. I've always talked about having one. I have the concept of it. I know what I want to put on it, but I have not actually physically started that. And that is what I'm going to do consistently this week. And on that vision board, I know I want to have a blank space. And what that blank space to me is going to represent is that I'm holding space for those that would benefit from coaching in all the different aspects. whether it's healthy body, healthy mind, healthy finances. And so I want to be intentional of that too, and keep that focus on others and not just for me, because it's not about us. I think the value of attending convention, and I think there's three top values I find. I find that one is community, where we get to engage with others, and it's so highly powerful and highly positive environment, and that we can have the opportunity of learning from like-minded people, just like our community Facebook pages, but being there in person is such a difference. And that is like the second point of it's intrinsically empowering, and that spirit and power of a live event. Like it's, I would equate it to listening to your favorite band or music, and then compared to actually seeing them in person in concert, and just the energy and the chills and everything that you get from that. And I think the third value of attending convention in person is just the immersion to help us dig deeper into ourselves, and realizing that one of the speakers said, which was like, oh, light bulb with me, is like, we are Optavia, we are not doing Optavia. And just like we are loving people to healthy, we are not just doing this health program, or we're not just coaching a health program, and just embodying all of the 4 components, as well as the trilogy of coaching then too.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. Every one of those reasons is so important. And we talked last week on Team Time about the importance of connection and community, and that's really being proven that so many people are looking for that. Maybe don't even realize it, that are so lonely. And I really think we should capitalize on it. We talked about last week, screenshotting, maybe tagging somebody who spoke on this call, put it in your stories. I would encourage you to do that tonight. Maybe, you know, why you love it. I mean, you're making a choice. We have 70 of us on right now. We had what, 131 or more at the event, many who watch virtually, and now we're on a call, right? Like, this is important to us. So well done. And I love that, Stephanie, about holding space for others, because that's really what this is all about. So beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so many people have to jump through a lot of hoops to get to events. And Stephanie, I know you work full time. I'm imagining that probably took time off. You had to use some of your personal vacation time or personal days for that. Sometimes we have life, like major life, and it might not make any sense for you to be leaving. And it is always a personal choice. And we always support and encourage and support you wherever you are. But I want Connie Queen to speak for a moment, because Connie has experience from making a decision not to attend an event when times were tough, and then actually attending convention when times were tough. So Connie, maybe you can come on for a minute and share with us.
Yeah, thanks, Dee. Well, I had plenty of reason not to attend convention. And some of you may remember when I shared about my sugar story and the circumstances about that drastic slide that almost led me to even quitting Optavia for good last November. Well, 1 week prior to convention, that exact same scenario was playing out in my life. My adult special needs daughter was hospitalized with a broken pelvis, intense pain, spasms, and tremors from Parkinsonism. Her condition is worsening, and the medical staff told me that I needed to put her into an assisted living facility. And as I frantically and fearfully raced around to sort all that out, I stopped, I challenged, and I chose, against expert advice, to bring her home. And my mind told me that I couldn't go to convention. And that scared me even more, because last November fast forwarded right through my eyes. I called one of my accountability partners, and I told her that I was standing in my commitment to my health and to my clients and to my life, and that I would be there no matter what, because Optavia and my health are a really big rock, like a boulder in my jar. And what shifted for me is at convention is that it's not about me, and that everything in my life is a ripple effect. And when I lead with my health, everything is better. My energy, my confidence, and my clarity to face fear and stressful situations and make sound decisions, okay, with peace and ease. And what specifically stood out for me was the hashtag own the ugly. And you know what? I haven't done perfectly in life, because perfection is not available. And when I own the ugly, and I share openly and honestly and in a real vulnerable way, a few of you came to me and showed me that you too got to allow your shame and your guilt around certain situations to kind of just be released and disappear. And so that leads to my commitment to offer coaching to everyone. You know what? I already have 5 Coach Explorers set up for this week because I was channeling my inner Michelle Labby from last year. In addition to, I commit to calling coaches who have canceled their premier and not renewed to let them know that I am no longer the same self that I was. With 2 years experience in coaching, I have more knowledge, I have more wisdom, and I have more skills. I am going to ask questions and then listen. I'm going to use the acronym of FORWARD, ask them about their family, okay, about what they're doing now, about what their recreation is, and about what their dreams are. What are they still dreaming of, and the bigger dreams? And then listen, and then ask them if they're interested in a do-over. Because you know what? I didn't know what I didn't know until I realized that I didn't know. And what I would want someone who didn't attend to know about the value of this convention is make time for what matters most. That's in the very beginning of our life book. You are valuable. Your future self deserves it, and you are worth it.
Yeah, so good. So good, Connie. Thank you. I think one of the statements that resonated the most with me that you just said was, when I lead with my health, everything is easier and I make decisions more clearly. You had to make some really hard decisions. And I also know, because I helped mentor you personally, that your why got bigger this year, as part of your personal circumstances. So it was very important for you to be there. So, so excellent. Well, I want to take a minute and pause before we have somebody else come on, because one thing that Megan Valentine had us do was pull out our napkin. Do you remember that at the very first night? And we wrote down some dreams. Okay, I see some there. And there were short-term, the A, B, and C goals. This was talked about on a number of levels. I want us to be so bold to put one of our goals and our dreams from your napkin in the chat. Because just like Stephanie talked about a vision board, when we declare it, right, we need to share it, and it's more likely to happen. So I would love, I got several, mine are all over the place, from small things to big things, but I'll put one of mine in as well. So let's pop credit card debt. What else do we have? Take care of my parents. IPD speaks from the stage. A trip to Iceland in 2024 with your daughter. Invest, be debt-free. Fibic by Awaken. Excellent. Weddings for your kids. Good. Fibic. Good. All right. Excellent. Pay for my children's college. Cool. Sponsor a family, pay for their mortgage. Wow. Sponsor a child's college education, 10-year anniversary trip. A team of many nationalities, beautiful, global by 2023, global, retirement, ED. Oh, I love this. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Mine was, I have several, like some are smaller, but one was for me to 10 times our organization. So 10 times the amount of clients we're helping, 10 times the amount of coaches we bring on, 10 times, my own personal income, 10 times the number of leaders we, buzzed out on this team. I just think that would be really cool. I don't have a time frame on it yet, but I think, I want to think bigger, and I think there was that Jacques Cousteau quote that said, when one man lives an extraordinary life, they have a responsibility to pay it forward. And that's my vision. And who thought it was awesome to celebrate our leaders, Meg and Lauren, on the stage, right, to see what's happening. We have several that are right behind them, ready to bust out. So just really, really great stuff is happening. And, regardless of how long you're coaching, we see things, we hear things differently. So I wanted Julie Apple to share. Julie is probably one of the longest running coaches on our team, kind of my OG, and her vision continues to expand, and her situation changed. She ended up having to watch virtually this year, but still was majorly inspired. So Julie, you want to come on?
Hey, you guys, let me just say I missed all of you, seeing everybody. But yeah, we were planning a watch party in Charlotte. And then at the end of the week, my husband's office got COVID and everything. A couple of coaches were sick. And so we all just watched from home. So it looked a lot different than what we intended. But I just have to be so grateful that we could do live stream. And I hope that a bunch of you guys that are on here that couldn't go to convention got to listen live stream, because it really, I still felt like I was there, although I missed the energy of being with everybody. It still was so neat to be able to hear all the leaders share and hear Dr. A's story again. I think that just re-inspires me every single time I hear Dr. A share how he stepped out in boldness and is leading the way for us every step of the way. And then I just loved Megan Valentine opening up and setting the tone for the whole weekend. And so one of the big quotes that stuck out to me was success is piled on a mountaintop of failures. And I feel like that was shared over and over again. And as a coach that's been coaching, I guess what's a little over 7 years now, and hearing others that have coached longer than me talk about, it's just a lot of failures. You have to keep pushing through the hard. And this season in my personal life has been especially hard. And there's been so many times I've wanted to just say, I don't want to do this anymore. I just kind of want to go hide. So if you relate, you you're here, which is awesome. And I haven't given up. And I think the quote that Dee just shared is what really hit me the most, is despite the hard, we have an amazing life. If any of us put a 1 in the chat if you're grateful for anything that Optavia has given you, whether it be your health or financial resources or a healthier mind, so many things. So I just was reminded like how much of a gift we have, and am I sharing it? So one of the things I thought is, how can I offer either the program or coaching to somebody every single day? And I was in a small group with Amy Kemp last fall, and that was one of the things that I had personally made a goal to do, and was doing it much more regularly in the fall and kind of stopped. And so that's one thing I thought, I really want to be able to, wherever I'm at boot camp or at the gym teaching, or if I'm with Lily, swimming lessons, where can I offer it to people? Because there's so many people that need hope. So that was my encouragement, is what can we each do? And I think that was the end that Tiffany shared, is what one person and what one thing can you reach, because then they can keep reaching. So I love the way she wrapped it up on Saturday.
Thank you, Julie, for that. Powerful, and the gratitude, I mean, I don't know what, put a 2 in the chat of maybe your health journey and coaching has maybe been one of the hardest journeys of your life in terms of your personal growth. But it's worth it, right? Like, I've had to face a lot of ugly and a lot recently, but you know what, it's all for good. So that's what Optavia does, is it just elevates us. And I love the story of the mama who was in Target and the water bottles went all over the place, and Jen Jones stopped and said, hey, and just built a relationship from that. So I think I can just get into a mindset of like, I just want to run to the store. I don't want to talk to anybody or whatever. But Julie, that's beautiful to have that, your eyes open, because there's another Julie Apple out there. There's another Melissa Gent, there's another Debbie Pasco, and there's another Betsy. I'm just reading the people at the top of my screen, but we're all out there. So why not find them? So awesome. Well, good. We have 2 more shares, and then I want to go over a couple action things to really help us put this in motion. There can be value to having our significant other attend convention with us. Really just having a spouse, maybe they are or not actively involved in coaching, maybe they're considering it, but having a significant other there with us can actually help them better see the vision, be able to support us, be patient with us while we're on calls that are running late and all the things. So Deborah Goleski came on as a coach in the past year. She shot up to executive director, and her husband Bernie came with her to convention. So Deborah, it was fun to meet you in person and see how tall you are. I always think it's fun when you see people in real life, like, I didn't realize you were that tall. But Bernie came. And so tell us about your convention experience, and specifically, what does it mean and feel like when you have your spouse in the room with you?
The funny thanks. The funny thing about it is he asked to come, and I said yes, but I didn't really think he'd enjoy it. I really didn't. I even told Debbie that. I said, yeah, he's kind of a stuck in the mud. I'm not sure he's gonna like it. The funny part about it is he really enjoyed it. he really got a lot out of it. And one of the reasons why I didn't think he would enjoy it is because he works in the corporate world and they go to similar things, and stuff becomes repetitive. But the good things that came out of it, he now has respect for what I do. That's a big thing. And now my goals have become our goals. And that's a real big thing. You had asked for him to become my business partner. So we put him on my cards, and now he wants to take my cards and hand them out. So, which he has never said before. And it's also inspired him to use it in his own job, which is great. He was talking about that today. He talked about it the whole way home to Florida.
That's so great.
So yeah, it was good. Now for me, it's a major mind shift. I'm an artist and I visualize stuff. The thing that hit me the most was be a master at visualization. I visualize stuff. That's who I am. I'm left brain person, so, and I never thought about using it in my business at all. But I am now because I visualize being Civic by next spring. That's where I'm going to be. And I'm going to create a vision board, put that right on the wall in my office so I see it every single day.
That's so great.
My commitment to myself and my business is to show up every single day with a positive attitude, because it's so hard. That's one of the things they said. It's so hard to get down and just not feel good, but to show up every day happy. Be happy with clients, be happy. And I actually used that today with a client that's going to sign up at the end of the week. So
awesome at that.
So, and the other thing that I really learned is, you start conversation, but offer coaching more than I have been, because you just don't know how you're helping people. And it's more about them than it's about me. And I wanted them to visualize their possibilities, because I never thought that I would be a coach. And it's one of the most wonderful things I've done. It really is. So anybody that didn't make it to convention or watching on TV, it's worth going. It really changed my mindset. It really did. It definitely was worth it. And right now I'm visualizing going back to ED, because I slid out of that position because I want to go to Awaken.
Yes.
So
that's excellent.
That's my right now visualization.
Beautiful.
And I can't wait until convention next year, because
yeah,
my husband's all in.
Well, these are life skills. These are life skills, right?
He's
they apply
in
in any aspect of life. So I hear that often when spouses get involved, that they'll actually take a lot of what they learned and they can apply it in their job or show up differently in their job. And I think what Debbie put it in the chat, but just the fact you shifted from my goals are now our goals. So take advantage of that visualization, make the board, what does Civic translate into your life? What does that additional income? It's just a title, but what does it translate to? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, one more before we move into putting it into action. So somebody who's gone through life change this year needed to make some change, which she even started this morning, and having to start a new job to work and get some benefits and stuff for her family. But Elona Crosby, she made it happen. She showed up at convention, and Elona, you've been to several events, so I would love to hear from you and have you share, how do you juggle all that, even though when you had life change coming this week and you made it a priority? You're muted. Yeah.
I know, I do that all the time. So I think that planning ahead and really prioritizing, like you said, when your best mentor will tell you to attend everything you can. So I had Marriott points. I had over the last, year or so, I've had flight points from my credit cards. And I always use them to come to get here. And I actually started my new job last week, and they had to approve the time off because I had no PTO. So I actually didn't get paid at all for those 2 days. But it was cool. I mean, it was what the shift that happened within me was knowing and watching so many new IPDs, so many new global directors, so many new presidential directors walk across that stage. But the common theme and their common stories were they jumped in without knowing. They didn't have to graduate and prove and interview, me interviewing for this position. The stress wasn't there because there was support in their communities and their mentors and not just our community, but there's tons of Facebook communities out there for our clients and our coaches to get resources from. And this whole movement toward technology supporting changing our habits, something that Dr. A talks about in, the habits of health, is just technology building that bridge between our success and whether or not we get there. We're not by ourselves. We have a coach, we have technology. One of the quotes I think that stood out to me in the convention was, your past is not your prison, it's your university. And we always think, oh, beat yourself up. How long have I been on program? Why do I still have triggers? But when I can say that I'm going to learn from that situation, what did I learn? How can I move forward? Give myself some grace, survive those choices. And from convention, I learned that, you can't graduate from life, but you can take some good courses, and then you can go back and tell everyone else about all the courses that you took, and you can, share those and find power in taking the course, because not everybody gets an A, not everybody gets 100%. Some people get a C and they still pass, but they're there and they've moved on. And I think that with Optavia, that's a common thing. Passing, it's not being perfect, it's moving, it's progression, and getting closer to your goals. So I think what I'm committing to now is just documenting those stories. Every time I have a story and whether it's a trauma or whether it's a win and a victory, I need to write all of those down and decide that when I share those, that I am going to inspire someone to look at me and see themselves and decide to coach and decide to jump into improving both their health, a healthy mind, healthy body, and healthy finances. And I can't minimize those or be afraid. I have to use them as power. So that's what I'll be doing here for the next couple of weeks, on the weekends, probably, with my new
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
But thanks
Well,
for letting me share, Dee.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm glad you made it a priority and where he was here. Everyone who shared tonight, thank you. And I think that, our story is constantly evolving, and especially those of us that had weight loss on the program, it's so easy for us to get stuck thinking, well, what am I supposed to share? Because I lost my weight and that was 2 years ago, but there's so many layers to the story, right? Or maybe part of the trauma that led to you being overweight is something you're willing to share now, right? We all have to grow through this at our own pace, but that is one thing I have learned so much about, is the power of vulnerability. And not everybody deserves to know your story or your entire story, but there are things that we can share that, or allude to, that will open the door. I put an Eagles quote out today as one of my stories, and it says, we often live our lives in chains and never realize we have the key. Very often it's the stories in the prison we've put ourselves in because of what's happened in our lives. So a couple of quick things as before we wrap up. Number one, I want to remind you and invite you, if you have not been doing it, we know that integrated clients are more likely to become coaches. So do your best as you're bringing on new clients, et cetera, and with your existing, to bring them into our Tuesday night calls. We have found that those are incredible. We are mentioning coaching on every one of those. Tomorrow night's actually going to be client tips from takeaways from a convention perspective. So it's going to be awesome. So take time tomorrow to message all of your clients and, get them on that call, make it a priority for yourself. And let's really work together to build our community and integrate it more. But one of my good friends in the business, Dr. JC Dornick, what he always says is, let's not let this event be a jacuzzi experience. Because let's face it, it feels good when you're there, right? You're there, you got your people, everybody's like-minded, everybody's like, yeah, we're going to conquer the world. And it's wonderful. And then, you get back and maybe you hit up against some life. right? You hit up against some life or somebody you were counting on. I got a rejection while I was sitting there, like your program looks great, but I'm going a different direction. Like it's going to happen. You're still going to get the no's. We're still going to have life, but that's where it really comes down to getting that clarity of your dreams, realizing that this is a journey. It is a process. So one, let's not make it a jacuzzi experience because it's easy to get out, and think, well, that's not what I thought it was going to be. The second thing is, learning this from Paul Blanchard, is pull up your notebook or whatever it is, and mine is chicken scratch because it was dark in there trying to write my notes. But and on every page or every segment, whether it was morning session, afternoon section, take a big Sharpie or a highlighter and highlight one thing. Just one thing, whatever jumps out you at the most from each page or whatever. And then I would really challenge you to maybe even narrow it down out of all of your highlighted circles to pick one. Because very often we can be like, oh my gosh, I need to make my hundreds list. Oh my God, I need to be offering coaching to everybody. Oh my gosh, I need to be doing this. Oh my gosh. And then we're like, there's that, we get caught up in the swirl. So let's pick one thing and do it really well. Master that. This notebook's not going anywhere, right? Come back, pick it up again, right? The second thing is that Dan Valentine, their organization, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Encourage you to copy it if you didn't. I also have it in our groups, and I'll put it in the recording. But this, let me see, I think I had it up. Can you guys see this business plan, Optavia convention?
Yeah.
So this is a document for you to print and actually go in and spend some time and document, how is your desire to move forward increased? What are 3 key takeaways? So that can be what you've circled, right? That you're going to do. How am I coaching today? What new thoughts do I need to put in? This goes through and then all the way into setting more goals, rating ourselves, where we are in our health, on our mindset, how often we're plugging into our coach, personal mindset. It is a beautiful document, but you know what? We've got to make time for it. So the things that I would challenge you as we wrap up, because we had some incredible shares tonight, is I challenge you to time block and put on your calendar 30 minutes, 45 minutes to work on this document. Take your time, fill out this document, and then schedule a one-to-one mentor session with your coach to review it. So send them a copy and then go over it with your coach, because we said we've got to declare it and we've got to share it, right? And our coach can help us, maybe we've gone pie in the sky and we say we're going to be IPD by the fall, but maybe that's not quite there yet if we're not executive director, right? So we can break it down, but every goal is achievable. And your business coach and the mentorship that in this organization, our desire is to help you succeed. So congratulations to everyone that attended. Your takeaways, I'm excited to see what the difference we make. We've got the new coach incentive. It is still in place, so put that in. The leadership team, we are working on developing a 4-week new coach training series that we're going to be rolling out for this, for our coaches, or really for anybody that wants to go see your coach. So we are working with you, right, to help you bring on coaches and help to continue to grow. And the last thing I'll say is we are wrapping up is Awaken, is our team retreat, which is executive directors and above, happening October 6th through the 8th. I had a lot of people saying, you know what, I'm going to do what it takes to get there. So qualification is June, July, and August. We want you there. If you know you're attending, reserve your room. We've got a block of rooms, but there's a lot of other things happening at the hotel where we are. But this will be our intimate experience where we can really, roll our sleeves up and bond, have fun, and get to work together. So very good, you guys. Thanks again. I'll see you tomorrow night, community call, 8 o'clock, and then we'll see you again next week on Team Time. Have a great night.